You are about to make a decision, and it feels completely rational. You tell yourself you are comparing the risks, thinking about timing, money, consequences, and whether the choice makes sense. But beneath all of that, another question may already be shaping the answer before you notice it. What will happen if the people around me do not approve? This question appears in ordinary moments. You feel it before sharing an unpopular opinion, wearing something that makes you stand out, asking for more money, leaving a relationship, changing careers, admitting what you really want, or saying no to someone who expects a yes. Sometimes the fear is obvious. Your chest tightens, your face warms, and you imagine everyone looking at you. But often it hides itself. It feels like caution. It sounds like common sense. It tells you that this is not the right moment, that the idea is not good enough, or that you should wait until you are more prepared. Sometimes that voice is useful, but sometimes it is an ancient fear wearing the mask of logic. For most of human history, belonging was not simply a pleasant feeling. It was protection. A person inside a group had access to shared food, knowledge, shelter, warning signals, childcare, and defense. A person pushed outside the group faced a far more dangerous world. There were no anonymous cities or online communities waiting nearby. The people around you were not just your social circle. They were the structure keeping you alive. That made rejection more than an emotional wound. It could become a survival problem. The people who noticed disapproval early had an advantage. A change in tone, a longer silence, a tense face, or a shift in how others behaved could signal that trust was weakening. Catching those signals gave someone time to repair a relationship, change their behavior, or avoid exclusion. Over countless generations, humans became deeply sensitive to social acceptance. You inherit a nervous system that pays close attention to belonging because, for your ancestors, belonging mattered. The world changed. The alarm did not disappear. Today, disagreement rarely means you will be left alone in the wilderness. A coworker disliking your idea does not remove your access to food. A stranger criticizing you online does not take away your shelter. A friend being disappointed does not mean your future is over. Your conscious mind understands this. But older emotional systems do not always measure danger with modern facts. They react to signs of rejection first and ask questions later. That is why silence after you speak can feel so heavy. It is why one raised eyebrow can stay in your mind for hours. It is why a critical comment can outweigh 20 compliments. It is why embarrassment can produce such a physical reaction even when nothing threatens your body. Your heart speeds up. Your muscles tense. You want to hide, escape, explain yourself, or somehow reverse the moment. The situation is modern. The feeling is ancient. Imagine you are in a meeting and notice a serious flaw in a plan everyone supports. For a few seconds, you consider speaking. Then your mind creates a picture. The room becomes quiet. Someone looks annoyed. Your manager thinks you are difficult. Your coworker remembers the moment later. So you say nothing. Afterward, you may tell yourself the problem was not important enough. You may decide someone else probably noticed it. You may even convince yourself that silence was the professional choice. Perhaps it was. But another possibility is that your social alarm made the decision first, and your rational mind arrived afterward to explain it. The brain is very good at creating reasonable stories for choices shaped by emotion. Fear does not always announce itself by saying, "I am afraid." Sometimes it says, "This is impractical." Sometimes it says, "People like me do not do that." Sometimes it says, "I will start later." Sometimes it says, I do not care what they think, while quietly reorganizing your life around what they might think. The fear of rejection can shape your relationships. You agree when you want to disagree. You apologize when you have done nothing wrong. You hide boundaries because another person might become upset. You laugh at things you do not find funny. You pretend to be easygoing when you are uncomfortable. You say that something is fine because the alternative could create tension. Each moment seems small. Together, they can build a version of you designed to be difficult to reject. The strange part is that this strategy can work. People may like you. They may praise you for being agreeable, calm, flexible, or low maintenance. But the acceptance can feel empty because it is directed toward the version of you that never causes discomfort. The real you remains hidden behind the performance. You are included, but not fully known. This ancient fear also influences what you buy, wear, post, and pursue. A product can signal membership, a career can earn approval. An opinion can feel true because everyone you respect already believes it. A dream can feel unrealistic because the people around you would not understand it. Beneath the choice may be a promise that it will protect your place among others. Watch how your behavior changes when nobody is looking. You sing differently alone. You try things you would never attempt in public. You move without worrying whether you look foolish. You explore ideas before deciding whether they are respectable. You make mistakes without turning them into evidence about your worth. The moment the audience disappears, small parts of your personality return. That reveals something important. Sometimes you are not afraid of the action. You are afraid of being seen doing it. You are not afraid of failure itself. You are afraid of what failure might change in other people's minds. A private mistake gives you information. A public mistake can feel like a loss of status. Your social brain is not only asking, "Did this work?" It is also asking, "What will they think of me now?" This is one reason conformity feels comfortable. When everyone agrees, your nervous system receives a signal of safety. You do not have to defend yourself, risk looking foolish, or wonder whether disagreement will create distance. Standing with the group reduces uncertainty. Standing alone does the opposite. That discomfort does not prove the group is right. It only proves that separation feels dangerous. This is how intelligent people stay silent when they know something is wrong, and how entire rooms support weak ideas because each person assumes everyone else believes them. The fear of social separation can become stronger than private judgment. Modern technology intensifies the problem. Your ancestors tracked the reactions of a relatively small number of people. You can now expose yourself to the judgment of hundreds or thousands in a single moment. Approval is counted. Disapproval is public. Likes rise, comments appear, followers leave, and numbers become a visible measure of belonging. A system designed for a small group is now listening to a crowd. This is why one negative response from a stranger can affect you even when you know it should not matter. Logically, the person may be irrelevant to your life. Emotionally, the signal still reads as rejection. Your mind may replay it, search for what it means, and ignore the many people who responded positively. The brain is not keeping score fairly. It is protecting against danger. But the alarm is often inaccurate. Someone can disagree with you without rejecting you. A person can be quiet because they are tired. A friend can be disappointed and still love you. A conversation can become uncomfortable without ending the relationship. You can make a mistake without losing everyone's respect. You can be misunderstood without becoming alone. The ancient system detects possible social danger, not certain social danger. It would rather warn you too early than stay silent until exclusion becomes unavoidable. In modern life, that can make ordinary disapproval feel like catastrophe. The goal is not to eliminate this fear. Wanting acceptance is not weakness. Human beings are social, and other people can see things you miss. Ignoring every reaction would not make you free. It would make you disconnected. The goal is to notice when social awareness becomes social obedience. The next time you hesitate before an important decision, ask what consequence you are actually afraid of. Are you afraid the choice will fail or that people will watch it fail? Are you protecting yourself from real harm or from an imagined change in how someone might see you? Would the decision feel different if nobody could judge it? Would you still call it impossible if it were completely private? These questions do not mean you should always take the risk. Sometimes caution is wise. Sometimes criticism is useful. Sometimes the group understands something you do not. But separating practical danger from social discomfort gives you a clearer choice. You may discover that what feels dangerous is only visible. What feels impossible is only unfamiliar. What feels like a warning about the future is actually an echo from the past. There is another difference between your world and the world that shaped this fear. For your ancestors, losing one group could be final. Today, rejection still hurts, but it is rarely the end of belonging itself. You can leave one job, form new connections, move somewhere else, or join communities built around values that nobody near you shares. One group's rejection can sometimes guide you toward another group's acceptance. Your nervous system may not understand that immediately. It may still react as though one closed door means there will never be another. But experience can teach it something new. Each time you survive embarrassment, disagreement, or disapproval, you give the alarm updated information. You show it that visibility does not always lead to humiliation, that saying no does not always lead to abandonment, and that being different does not always mean being alone. The fear may still speak. It simply does not have to make the decision. Some of the most important choices in your life may not be divided between safe and dangerous. They may be divided between choices that preserve approval and choices that express who you actually are. The ancient fear will usually recommend the familiar path. Stay quiet. Blend in. Do not risk looking foolish. Do not give anyone a reason to judge you. It is not trying to ruin your life. It is trying to protect your place among people. For countless generations, that instinct helped humans remain close to the group they needed. But you are living in a world your ancestor could not have imagined. A world where standing apart does not always mean being cast out. A world where losing approval can sometimes be the cost of honesty. A world where being disliked by some people may be necessary to become recognizable to the right ones. So the next time fear enters a decision, listen closely. Not because it is always right, not because it must be defeated. Listen, because it may reveal the hidden question shaping your choices. Will they still accept me if I do this? Then ask a newer question. If I abandon what matters to me just to remain accepted, who exactly are they accepting? You're not weak for fearing rejection. You are carrying a survival system built in a time when belonging could determine whether a person lived or died. But the system is not your destiny. The fear can speak. The group can react. The old alarm can ring as loudly as it wants. And you can still choose.